My father and Yinger's father got up after talking. I have already sent the chessboy to deliver the wine. When the old woman heard this, she took 2 steps to do one. It's time to go. I'm arguing with you. Should I do it or not? Simon King said. I'm going to do it for him. I'll pretend to be the real one. And I'll buy and give up my position. I've had an incident in my Yemen. And I still want to touch him. Why should I do it for him? Earl said. If brother doesn't do it, ask him to find someone else. You only lend him 2,000 taels of silver and make interest at 5 cents every month. And ask him to close the money and pay it back to you. What do you think? Simon King said. That's right. For your sake, I will give him 1,000 silver coins. Now I, Zhuangzi, have no money left to clean up. If he is playing brother's flag outside, it will usually be fine. If something goes wrong, what do you want me to do, brother? Just rest assured, but if something goes wrong, I will come and tell him. It's settled. I'll ask him to write documents tomorrow. Simon King said, if you don't teach him to come tomorrow, I have something to do. Ask him to come the day after tomorrow. Double quotes after that. The Earl went. How can I be patient? Your brother is not at home. And he is a troublemaker. What are you doing here? Hunter was making trouble. His eyes were open. And when I didn't go. I saw a jar of Bainatu wine under the table with a red paper sticker on it. And asked, sister-in-law, where is the wine? Open the sieve pot and let me eat. Yeah, Cora, you can enjoy it. The woman said humanity said, you should take a break as soon as possible. It was sent by the father in the house. Your brother has not seen it yet. When he comes home, he will pour a bowl for you to eat. Hunter said, what are you waiting for, brother? But I saw you alone and neglected, and you have a glass of wine. You ignore me and push me back. Let me teach you not to panic. You are dating a rich man. You ignore me and want to turn me on. You deliberately yell at me and ridicule me. Walking too much me. Don't ask me to bump into you. You're drunk. So come here to spread wildfire. I won't spare you any mercy. The 2 mischief makers cursed the whore and went out. Unexpectedly, Simon King Jeng came riding a horse. When he saw him, he asked who it was. The woman said, I know who it is. It's Hunter. The woman said, you are annoying me again. Simon King said, you don't know. Don't get used to him. The woman said, human said, what dad said is true. Diane said, his soul heard that dad was coming and didn't know where he had gone. Simon King sat down. When the woman saw the ceremony, she quickly asked her maid Jinner to bring out a cup of nut tea, ate it with Simon King, and then asked him to kowtow. Simon King said, well, if you get a good child, you can just use it. Then he said, old Feng is here. Why don't you get tea for you? The woman said, Mother Feng, I'm sorry. That's why I brought this jar of wine. The woman said another blessing and said, thank you, Dad, for the wine. That's exactly what I said. I live in a remote alley and don't have a good hotel. I have to buy this kind of wine. I just can't live up to my expectations. Take it to the street, Simon King said. When Mr. Han comes home, you argue with him. Simon King was quite pumping, and the woman touched it with her hands and gradually got halfway in and sat her butt in Simon King's arms. She looked back with watery eyes and trembled. Slow down. The back is getting bigger and bigger. It's a slut. How can a woman be endured? Simon Kinky held up his buttocks to watch her movements and called the woman by her nickname. Wang Lior, my son, you don't know why you have to do this. You don't want to do this today. Meeting you is just what I wanted. You and I will be separated tomorrow. The woman said, Dada, I'm afraid that I'm going to get annoyed later and ignore you. Simon King said, come on, let's get together. I just realized that I am not like this. Exactly. Hate the little non-gentleman, the non-toxic and unhusband. A few days later, Libo and Han Daoguo's group came back from Tokyo and told Simon King what was going on. Butler's eye was very high. When he saw the girl and said that dad had taken the trouble. She stayed in my house for 2 days and asked for her return book. I gave my father a green horse, gave Han's daughter a gift of 50 taels of silver, and gave the younger one 20 taels of silver as a gift. Simon King said, okay, after reading the book, there was nothing wrong with it. You will go home, don't spend it, I have something to offer. Then Han Daoguo Kotodan said goodbye and went back. When the wife saw the man coming home, she was filled with joy. She took the luggage, dusted it with him, and asked him, how is the child going? The Taoist man told him what he had said all the way back and said, okay. When the child arrived, he was given 3 rooms, and 2 maidservants waiting on him. Needless to say, he was well-dressed and well-dressed. The next day, he took us back and met his wife. Butler's I was very happy and stayed with us for 2 days, drinking and drinking. Even the servants couldn't eat. I also offered 50 taels of gift money. I refused again and again. But the high official refused and asked me to take it back. Because he took the money with the woman. The woman fell to the ground with a stone, because she said to Han Daoguo, tomorrow, we will still have 1 tael of silver to thank Lao Feng. Since you are not here, it is a good thing that he often comes to keep you company. The high officials also gave him a tael. Just as he was talking, he saw the girl coming over to hand him tea. Han Daoguo asked, is this the eldest sister there? The woman said, this is the new girl we bought. Her name is Jenner. Come and kowtow to your father. After kowtowing, the girl went to the kitchen. My wife told her about Simon King's hookup like this, since you left. I came and went 3 or 4 times before I bought this girl with 4 taels of silver. But when I come here, I bring 1 or 2 taels of silver. The second one didn't know where he was, so he came here to let me go in anger. He caught me, took him to the Yemen, and beat him to death. He doesn't dare to come here anymore. The woman said, this is if he already has 50 taels of silver. He will definitely give us a few more taels of silver tomorrow to look at a good house. It's also a loss for me. So I'll leave him with some supplies so he can wear them. Han Daoguo said, wait a minute. I will go to the shop tomorrow. If he comes, you will only push me away. Don't neglect him, please flatter him and everything. At dawn, Han Daoguo asked for the key to his house and went to open a shop. He gave Lao Feng a tael of silver to thank him. No need to elaborate. One day, Simon King and Jia Ti came back from the Xing Yemen. Jia Tixing saw Simon King riding a high-hatted green horse and asked, sir, why didn't you ride that white horse and replaced it with this one? It's just that there is something wrong with the child, so hurry up and take care of it. At first, I lost a lot of weight while riding on the road. I have eaten better in the past 2 days. Jia Tixing said, this horse is very good at it, but I have to ride it. It's just a dare in the street, so don't let him go too far. Speaking of it, it's worth 7 or 80 taels of silver here. The horse my student rode was lame again yesterday. Come to the Yemen this morning and take the post to inquire about the deceased. It's very inconvenient to borrow this horse to ride here, Simon King said. It doesn't matter, sir. I don't have a horse. I still have a yellow horse at home. I'll give it to you. Jia Tixing raised his hand and said, sir, please leave, come on. The student will pay you the price. Simon King said, don't worry about it. When the student gets home, he will send someone to deliver it. The 2 of them walked to the West Street entrance, and Simon King raised his hand to go home. When you get home, ask Diane to deliver the horse. Jia Tixing was overjoyed when he saw it. He rewarded Diane with a tael of silver, and with a reply. He said, if you'd like to thank me more, I'll go to the Yemen tomorrow to thank you. 2 months later, it was mid-October. Jia Tixing made some chrysanthemum wine at his home. Called 2 young ladies. Not to mention that Simon King was drinking at Jia Tixing's house. Pan Jinlian saw that Simon King didn't come into his room for many times. The emerald quilt and hibiscus tent were cold every day. That day, I left the corner door open, raised the silver lamp in the room, leaned against the curtain screen, and played the pipa. Waiting until the 2nd or 3rd watch, Chunmai looked at it several times, but there was no movement. Exactly, I play the silver jung diligently for a long time at night, but I can't bear to play it in the lonely empty room. He took the pipa, put it across his knees, played second offense of river water in a low voice, and sang. Men leaned on the curtain and fell asleep in his clothes. Suddenly I heard the sound of iron horses on the eaves, and I heard Simon King knocking on the door knocker, so Chum-I hurriedly went to take a look. Chum-I replied, "Mom, I'm wrong. It's the wind blowing outside and the snow is falling." The woman played and sang again. Listen to the loud sound of the wind, the snow is sprinkled on the windowsill, and the ice flakes are floating. Once the lights were dim and the fragrance was gone, I felt like I was ready to pick the food. But when I saw that Simon King didn't come, I couldn't help but move to lazuli. He sang, "I am too lazy to pick up the precious lantern, and I am too lazy to burn the incense and seals. If I survive tonight, I am afraid of tomorrow morning. If you think about it carefully, when will this trouble end? Thinking about it, I feel so anxious tonight that I wasted my youth. The people you leave behind are better than others." Let's say that Simon King came back from Jia Tik Singh's house after drinking wine round one watch. The weather was gloomy all the way, with half rain and half snow falling from the sky, which melted on my clothes. Unavoidable to hit the Malay family, the boy held a lantern and went straight to Li Pingera's room. Li Pinger greeted him, brushing the snow off his body and taking his clothes. After putting on his silk clothes, he sat on the bed and asked, "Brother, have you slept?" Li Pinger said, "Young officer has been naughty this time, so he went to bed." Yingxun brought tea to eat. Li Pinger asked, "Did you come early to have a drink tonight?" Simon King said, "Because I gave him the horse the day before yesterday. Jia Longshi took great trouble for me today. He treated me to a banquet and invited to more boys. After sitting with him this time, I saw that it's snowing, so I came home early." Li Pinger said, "If you want to eat wine, ask the girl to sift the wine for you to eat. If you come home in the heavy snow, you are afraid of the cold." Simon King said, "There is also that wine. You sift it and I will eat it." Today his family is eating chrysanthemum wine. I think it smells bad, so I don't like to eat it raw. So Yingxun put down the table, a few plates of rice, delicate fruits and vegetables, etc. Li Pinger took a spoon and sat down next to him. There is a small brazier under the table. The two of them were having a drink here, while Pan Jinlian was sitting alone on the bed in a deserted room over there. Holding the pipo in her arms, the lamp on the table is dim. When I'm about to go to sleep, I'm afraid Simon King will come at once. When I'm not going to sleep, I'm still sleepy and cold. I couldn't help but take off my hat, pull back the dark clouds, half lower the tent, and sit down hugging the quilt. Exactly, tired of leaning on the embroidered bed. I feel lazy and sleepy. The brocade tent is hung low and the embroidered quilt is empty. If I had known that I would have abandoned him so lightly, I would have let down my entire family." He sang again, regret for being unkind and neglectful, and worry about being away from home. Then she called Chun-Mai over, "Go outside and have a look. Is your father here? Come back and tell me." Then Chun-Mai walked away and came back after a long time and said, "Mom still thinks that father is not here. Is he coming home? Are you impatient? Are you drinking in Liu Niang's room?" The woman just refused to listen. After hearing this, it was like stabbing several knives in her heart, and she cursed a few words of betrayal, and couldn't help but shed tears in her eyes. Suddenly, he played the pipa high and sang again, "My heart is itchy and painful, and I feel depressed and anxious. I gave up the sweet peach and went to look for the wild jujube. I have mistaken you as the fixed star. When I think about it, I feel anxious because I wasted my youth. The people you leave behind are better than others." Simon King was having a drink when he suddenly heard the sound of the pipa being played, and asked, "Who is playing the pipa?" Yingxun replied, "It's Wu Niang playing the pipa over there." Li Pinger said, "So Wu Niang is still playing the pipa? I'm not sleeping. Shu Chun, go and invite your fifth mother to have a drink. You said my mother would invite me." Then Shu Chun has gone. Li Pinger hurriedly told Yingxun, "Sit down and put a pair of bells in front of you." After a while, Shu Chun came over and said, Wu Niang has taken off her head and is not coming. Li Ping'er said, Ying Chun, you go and invite Wu Niang. You say, Mom and Dad invite Wu Niang. Not long after, Ying Chun came and said, Wu Niang closed the corner door, said she blew out the lamp and went to bed. Simon King said, Don't trust that little whore. When you and I drag him away, be sure to drag him over. Let's play a game of chess with him. So he and Li Ping'er came to beat his corner door. After fighting for a long time, Chunmei opened the corner door. Simon King took Li Ping'er into his room and saw the woman sitting in the tent with the pipa beside her. Simon King said, It's strange. Little whore, why I asked you 2 or 3 times not to go. Jin Lian sat on the bed, motionless, with a serious face, and said for a long time, That man who has no luck. You left me in this cold room and left me to fend for myself. Why did you come here to pick me up? There's no point in wasting your time. Save it for other uses. Simon King said, Weird slave. My 80-year-old mother has no teeth. What did you say? Sisterly asked you to play chess with him. Just waiting for you to leave. Li Ping'er said, Sister, it's not serious. I have placed chess pieces in my room. Let's have a leisurely meal and have a glass of wine. Jin Lian said, Sister Li, you can go on your own. I won't go. You don't know that I am impatient. I am sleeping now, and I can't compare to your relaxed mind. I am so impatient. I've only been talking and talking for 2 days. Who can taste the yellow soup and fresh water? I live with my face open all the time. Simon King said, It's strange, slave. You are so good. Why is it so bad? If you feel uncomfortable, you should have told me earlier so that I could ask the imperial doctor to see you. Jin Lian said, If you don't believe it, ask Chunmei to take it. Here comes my mirror. Wait for me to take a look. In the past 2 days, I have become as thin as a human. Chunmei handed the mirror to the woman's hand and looked at it under the lamp. Exactly, I am ashamed to apply powder makeup to the rhombus to make me look thin and radiant. Don't care about the wind and the moon behind closed doors. Let your plum blossoms make your own decisions. Simon King took a mirror and took a look at it, and said, Why am I not thin? Jin Lian said, How can I compare you to you? You eat a bowl of wine and meat every day, and you eat so much that you only care about others. Simon King couldn't help but sit down on the bed next to him, put his arms round his neck and kissed him. He put his hands under the quilt and felt that he had not yet taken off his clothes. He put both hands on his waist and said, My son is a little thinner. Jin Lian said, It's strange that the dealer is so cold-handed and makes people panic. Could it be that I coaxed you? My troubles? Who knows? I just shed tears from my stomach. After a moment of chaos, Simon King even dragged him to Li Ping'er's room, where he played a game of chess and had a drink. Before getting up, Li Ping'er saw his sour face and asked Simon King to go over to his side to rest. Exactly how much? My waist is thin, so I know I am troubled by other things, and the tears are only for the deep love for others.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.